very warm welcome from CA Gaurav on today's discussion, which we're going to do. We're going to discuss the topic of corporate guarantee, and I've decided to break this topic in two parts or two videos. So today we will be covering the first part or the first, first discussion and the very important topic whether corporate guarantee qualifies to be an international transaction or not. Because if corporate guarantee qualifies to be an international transaction, then only we need to benchmark it. So until corporate guarantee, we say that it is yes, it is a corporate guarantee, is an international transaction. We need not benchmark the transaction at all. So in today's video, we're going to cover up the discussion on whether corporate guarantee qualifies to be an international transaction or not. And for doing this discussion, we will be taking help of various judicial pronouncements in this matter. So let me share my screen with you. So what is guarantee? Let's understand the meaning of guarantee first. And I trust I'm audible to you. Those who are watching my video live, if they can confirm that whether I'm audible or not, it would be of a great help. So, yes, thanks for confirming. Okay, so we have Indian Contract Act 1872, Section 126 of Indian Contract Act define corporate guarantee, and it says contract of guarantee is a contract to perform the promise or discharge the liability of a third person in case of his default. So basically, let's say there are three person A, B, C, and Mr. A gives the guarantee on behalf of Mr. B to Mr. C, and wherein B does not honor his commitment, then A needs to honor the commitment towards C. So let's say C has taken a loan from B. B has taken a loan from C, and while giving the loan, C says to A that I need a guarantee. So A gives the guarantee on behalf of B. So that's why the C gives the loan to B, and now if B defaults, that A needs to give the guarantee. This is what definition is saying. Now, when it comes to transfer pricing, we can take an example to understand how corporate guarantee operates. So certainly when we are talking about corporate guarantee, it means guarantee by the corporate. So when we say bank guarantee, it means the guarantee by bank. So now what we're discussing is the corporate guarantee. So let's take an example. Let's say we have Indico, which is the Indian company, and then it has got Foreign Associated Enterprises, FAE1, and then there is a bank, again the foreign bank. Now this foreign A goes to the foreign bank, and asks for a loan, and foreign bank says I cannot give you loan unless you give me the guarantee. So the foreign A goes to its AE, which is Indico, for arranging the guarantee, and now Indico gives the guarantee to the foreign bank. After receiving a corporate guarantee, this foreign bank from Indigo, which is a parent company of FAE1, foreign bank gives corporate guarantee to gives the loan or gives the funding to foreign AE1. So this is one model on which the corporate guarantee can operate. The another model could be, let's take another example. We have FAE2, again Foreign Associated Enterprises 2, and we have foreign bank. Now this foreign A goes to the foreign bank for arranging a loan or for a funding, but foreign bank says we need guarantee before giving you the loan, and we do not need corporate guarantee, we need bank guarantee. So now Indigo goes to its own bank, which is Indie Bank, let's say, and Indie Bank gives the guarantee to the foreign bank. And now this foreign bank, after receiving guarantee from Indie Bank, gives the loan to foreign A2. So these are broadly the two mechanisms through which the corporate guarantee may operate. Now, in the first example that we saw, in this case, the Indico gives the corporate guarantee to F Bank on behalf of FA1. Whereas if we see the example 2, now in this case, Indico gives corporate guarantee to IndiBank 1, and IndiBank 1 gave bank guarantee to F Bank 1, and F Bank in turn gave the loan to FAE 2. So there could be two models, wherein we have only, let's say, three parties, and in another model we could have four parties. So the question comes whether this transaction or whether this transaction, the guarantee given by Indico on behalf of foreign A1 or 2 qualifies to be an international transaction or not, and if it qualifies, what should be the arm's length price that Indigo should charge from its foreign A. Now, as I said earlier, in today's discussion, I would be covering the first part, whether corporate guarantee is an international transaction or not. And if you want the slides which I'm using, you need to visit my Telegram channel. I would be sharing these slides on my Telegram channel, which is Transfer Pricing and Tax. You can also find a link to the Telegram channel on the description of this video, which I will be putting after completion of the video. But otherwise, if you are on Telegram, just simply search Telegram, just simply search Transfer Pricing and Tax on Telegram, and you will find a group with maximum strength more than 600 plus on a Telegram. On that, you can find this presentation once I'm done with the today's discussion. Now we have 92B, in which explanation got added via Finance Act 2012, wherein the guarantee was added. Let's see what it talks about. It says, for the purpose of this section, in section 92, 92C, 92D, and 92E, international transaction means a transaction between two or more A's, either or both of whom are non-resident in the nature of. It covers a lot of transactions: purchase or sale of property, provision of services, lending or borrowing of money, any other transaction having bearing on the profits, income, or losses or assets of such enterprise, and shall include a mutual agreement or arrangement between two or more A's for the allocation or apportionment of any contribution to any cost or expense incurred to be incurred in connection with the benefit, service, or facility provided to be provided to any one or more of such enterprise. This was the section before the explanation was added, and after the explanation, these are few explanation which would be important for our discussion. So explanation says, for the removal of doubt, it is hereby clarified that the expression international transaction shall include part C, capital financing, including any type of long-term or short-term borrowing, lending or guarantee, purchase or sale of marketable securities, or any type of advance payment or deferred payments or receivable or any other debt arising during the course of business. I will discuss part E later on, not now. So in part C, one can see that the guarantee was specifically included, and it was included via an explanation which says it is hereby clarified, that which means that when the definition or the explanation was added, it was added from the perspective of providing clarification to the taxpayer that yes, since beginning the guarantee was considered or should be considered as a international transaction. And because of this, why the explanation got added, because there was a couple of judgments came, one from a Forsoft in the matter of Forsoft from a Hyderabad tribunal, wherein said the guarantee cannot be regarded as an international transaction, and in order to clarify the same, it was clearly added in the explanation. And now the question came, which came in front of tax authority, was whether this amendment or the explanation which got added is prospective or retrospective. So when we talk about whether CG qualifies to be an international transaction or not, there are three, I will say, if you see pre-explanation period, there are three questions which needs to be answered: whether the explanation is retrospective or prospective; second, whether it qualifies to be the shareholder activity and it does not qualify to be an international transaction; and third, bearing on the profit, losses, profit, loss, income or asset of an organization. But post 2012, that is once the explanation was added, only two questions are important. First, whether it is a shareholder activity or commercial expediency in nature or not, and second, whether it has got bearing on the profit, income, losses, or asset of an organization or not. So let's move on to find out the answers to the question, what basically the judgments are saying. So the first question is whether the explanation which was added via Finance Act 2012 is retrospective or prospective. So there are a lot of judgment which came on this, and it read the relevant para of one of the judgment. The explanation to section 92B, though stated to be clarificatory and stated to be effective from 1st April 2002, has to be necessarily treated as effective from at the best assessment year 2013-14. So very clearly, the travel rule that the explanation which was added to section 92B is prospective and not retrospective. So some of the judgment, in which this principle was upheld are, I have given four judgments. One is Syros Clean Pharma Private Limited, and this para is coming from Syros Clean Pharma Private Limited, which was from Mumbai Tribunal. Then Jindal Steel and Power Limited, which was from Delhi Tribunal. Then Autoline Industries from Pune Tribunal. Rain Cements Limited from Hyderabad Tribunal. And you may find more judgments on the same issue wherein it has been upheld that yes, the amendment is prospective and not retrospective. There are few judgments wherein the retrospective nature of this amendment or explanation was accepted, but the number of favorable judgments or number of judgments which says it is prospective is much higher in comparison to the position wherein it has held that it is retrospective. Now, once we are done that this explanation needs to be read after 1st April 2012 and not pre 1st April 2012 or before 1st April 2012. So we are clear that the explanation which was got added is prospective and not retrospective. Let's move on to the next question. When this corporate guarantee qualifies to be a shareholder activity, or when you are giving corporate guarantee to your subsidiary company outside India, can we say it is a shareholder activity? And thus, can you take a shelter of judgments of various tribunals and High Court, wherein you can say that yes, I'm not going to charge any price. So before we move on to discuss what judgments are saying, let's understand what shareholder activity is. So by shareholder activity, we mean, let's say, when you are investing in the foreign company, you need to take care, you need to protect your investment. So when shareholder does any activity to protect its own interest, to protect its own investment, we refer it as a shareholder activity. And there could be number of examples. For example, let's say you are a car owner and there is a service center in your town which says we provide pickup and delivery services free of cost. And let's say you go on to deliver your car for the servicing. Does it mean that you are going to charge some price? Now, this activity you did in order to ensure yourself that the service center to which you are going is good enough, they have got proper facility to take care of your car. So you did this activity, or the car owner did this activity in order to protect his own interest. Similarly, shareholder activity, when a shareholder invests in some company, they might review the financials of that company, they might assist them in arranging the loan, and those activities may be for the benefit of shareholder and thus may qualify as a shareholder activity. When it comes to corporate guarantee, from India perspective specifically, when we set up companies outside India, many a times it is easier from the shareholder perspective and cost effective to invest minimum amount of equity and arrange loan from a bank, because the cost of capital in India is high vis-a-vis cost of capital outside India. Because many a time, shareholder thinks that why don't we arrange funds from outside India, and for that we may give corporate guarantee to the bank. So now, let's say if the Indian company has invested 30 rupees or $30, or let's say $30,000 outside India, whereas the total investment required is 100%. So out of 100%, Indian company invested 30%. Now, from where to get this 70%? Now, for this 70%, the subsidiary company need to go to the bank. The bank will give the loan, but the bank will say on this 30%, if you want 70 percent as a loan, it may not feasible for me to give you the loan. Thus we need some confirmation, some guarantee from the shareholder before we give you the 70% amount as a loan. So now when shareholder is giving guarantee to the bank in order to arrange finance for its own subsidiary, this qualifies to be the shareholder activity. Why? Because now by giving the corporate guarantee to the bank, the shareholder is only protecting its own investment, that is the 30 rupees or the 30% of the money which shareholder gave to the subsidiary in form of equity. Now, what are the rulings? So, in one of the ruling, it is observed, and I will come to the name of a ruling later on a conceptual note. Thus, there is a valid school of thought that the corporate guarantee can indeed be a mode of ownership contribution, particularly when, as it often the case where such a guarantee is given, it compensates for the inadequacies in the financial position of the borrower. Concept of issuance of corporate guarantee as a shareholder activity is not alien to transferring literature in general. In para 36, the court observed, the tribunal observed rather the OECD transferring guidelines for multinational enterprises and tax administration specifically recognizes that an activity in the nature of shareholder activity, which is solely because of ownership interest in one or more of the group members, that is in the capacity as a shareholder, would not justify a charge to the recipient companies. And therefore, as long as guarantee is on account of what can be termed as shareholder activities, even on the first principle, it is outside the ambit of transferring adjustment in respect of arm's length. So court observed that yes, there is a concept of shareholder activity, and if the entity is involved in the shareholder activity, there is no point charging amount. Certainly when you are doing shareholder activity, the another entity, which is your A, also gets benefited, but that benefit may not be regarded as service, and because it is not a service, you need not charge. So this is what shareholder activity says. Let's go to the judgment which upheld this concept. So the para which I used belongs to Micro Inc. Limited, and then we have Emami Limited from Kolkata, Britannia Industries again from Kolkata, the Bombay Dyeing and Manufacturing from Mumbai Tribunal. And there are other judgments also which upheld the concept of shareholder activity, that if Indian entity has done something to protect its own interest, Indian entity is not required to charge arm's length price. Now there is a third matter again, wherein your case may be regarded as may not be regarded as corporate guarantee, and it is bearing on profit, loss, and assets. So again, it is a wonderful judgment followed by many of the tribunals and also some of the cases which we just referred. So what it says, now let's move on. The para which I left for you, I said I will be taking later on. Okay. Now read this bullet. It says any other transaction having a bearing on the profits, income, losses, or assets of such enterprise. Okay. Now let's go to this. It says, let's read para E. Para E says a transaction of business restructuring or reorganization entered into by an enterprise with an AE, irrespective of the fact that it has bearing on the profit, income, losses of such enterprise at the time of the transaction or at any future date. Which means, in the explanation, it's only para E which is applicable even if it does not have bearing on profit, income, losses, or asset of such enterprise. Otherwise, in all the transactions which are not specifically covered above, purchase, sale of lease of tangible property, provision of services, lending or borrowing of money, in all other transactions, what becomes important that it should have bearing on the profits, income, losses, or of such enterprise. Now, coming to the judgment, now in this case, what happened? This is the famous case of Bharti Airtel Limited, wherein the Indian company provided the corporate guarantee to the foreign associated enterprises and not charged any amount from its foreign AEs. And the question came before the Delhi Tribunal, and Delhi Tribunal observed, in other words, in a situation in which transaction has no bearing on profit, income, losses, or assets of such enterprise, the transaction will be outside the ambit of expression of international transaction. This aspect of the matter is further highlighted in clause V. We just we discussed few minutes back. What is implicit in this statutory provision is that while impact on profit, income, losses, or assets is sine qua non, the mere fact that impact is not immediate but on a future date would not take transaction outside the ambit of international transaction. It is all as it appear on a plain reading of the provision. This exclusion clause is not for contingent impact on profit, income, losses, or asset, but on future impact on profit, income, losses, or asset of the enterprise. So the court observed that it should not be contingent; it should be future. So there must be an impact, which we can feel. But if it is contingent, if we are not sure whether it will happen or not, then it may certainly not fall under the provision of corporate guarantee. It may not fall, under the provisions of section 92B, which means, so if we have given a corporate guarantee and we are saying that in future we may see a loss or we may see a gain, we cannot say that it will fall within the provisions of section 92B. So the court said when you are giving corporate guarantee to the foreign entity, everything is contingent, when things are not sure, thus it will not qualify to be an international transaction. And it happened in the case of Bharti Airtel Limited, ACIT, ITA number 58186, Delhi 2012. Now, what are the cases or what could be the conditions wherein one can say that corporate guarantee qualifies to be an international transaction and thus you should charge an arm's length price? For the same, you need to wait for my next video, which I would be doing it on Saturday, on this coming Saturday. For the time and the presentation, again, you need to visit my Telegram channel. I would be sharing all the information there. Thank you. Hope you liked the video.